You know, fixing jams is super important, not just in the daytime, but at night. When I was a new guy in the SEAL teams, I was running a machine gun, and I had basically a belt-fed, both 7.62 or 5.56, depending which I felt like carrying, but they were the same operating system, essentially. And I had to know that gun inside and out. And so when we were in training, we were disassembling the entire machine gun down to its nuts and bolts. We would put it in a bucket, and the bucket had water and sand in it. And then with our eyes closed, right, or the night vision on, but still blurry, we would have to assemble and function check that weapon. So disassemble, assemble, function check over and over and over, and learn that gun so well. And the crazy thing was actually out with the platoon, running around, shooting that gun. The gun would jam to a point where it's catastrophic, and maybe I had to change the bolt, maybe I had to change the bolt carrier, maybe I had to replace the barrel. That's an extreme example, but that is what the level of mastery that it takes to really operate your system at like a professional level. Often when we go to the range, we're training things like speed, grip, trigger, sight alignment, but we're not training the actual functionality of the gun. And for newer shooters, building muscle memory towards the functionality of the gun. What does that mean? Reloads, fixing jams, fixing like extreme jams, knowing your gun inside and out. That's something that's pretty challenging for newer shooters because they usually don't have a method, they don't have a system. So I'm gonna show you guys a couple drills that I like to use using dummy rounds. So if you don't know what a dummy round is, it's just a round that's not a bullet inside. It's just a piece of plastic and there's no primer. So what it does is it allows the gun to function in such a way where there's still something there, but there's no projectile. So we can use these to induce jams. We can use these for dry fire. But for today's drills, I'm gonna use these for fixing jams, okay? The first jams we're gonna fix, the two types, are immediate fixes, right? Something where I just rack the bad round out and then I continue shooting. And then I'm gonna use dummy brass, just pieces of shells that have been shot, and induce like more extreme jams to have longer, more in-depth fixes. What happens is a lot of times people don't take the time to learn their gun inside and out. And it sounds extreme, but to be able to disassemble and assemble your gun with your eyes closed or in the dark is actually a really important skill set because it lets you know every single part of the gun, whether the light's on or the lights are off, and it allows you to build muscle memory into fixing a gun rather than having to look at it, see what's happening. You can do it by feel or even by sound. I know the sound a gun makes when it locks back. And if you're not at that level yet, you need to just shoot more rounds and get used to it a little bit more. So definitely before doing these drills, I recommend taking it apart so you know the ins and outs of every piece. So the question is, why do we have to learn how to fix malfunctions and jams? Well, it might sound obvious, but under stress, your brain is not going to function at the normal condition. You're not going to be critically thinking. You're just going to be reacting. And most people's brains freeze. I train a lot of shooters who are really, really good. They're very accurate. They're very fast. And the moment their gun goes click instead of a bang or a jam is caused, they stop and they look at the gun and they kind of freeze. But the experts of shooting, the moment the gun goes click instead of a bang, they rack it out. Or the moment it gives a thud and you know there's a jam or there's an empty mag, they immediately go with their hands and they start fixing it. Their brain is in essentially lizard mode and it's just operating. It's not thinking, and that's the level we have to get to. We have to get to the ability to not think about these things. Our hands just do them so our brain power can focus on the self-defense chaos that's happening in front of us. So for today's drill, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing it with a rifle. Now, the drill with a rifle is the exact same as with a pistol, but you can just take slide and interchange it with bolt. So when I say bolt, you just do the same thing with your slide. Otherwise, magazine and bolt release, it's just gonna be the same as your slide release. So you can do all the drills that we're doing with the rifle today. You can do them with your pistol. It's all the same, just different names. So I wanna show you guys what's actually happening when we do these drills. So I put a magazine in, but I put a magazine with a dummy. And what the dummy is telling me the gun doesn't fire, right? So the gun doesn't fire, so I have to fix it. But the distinct note of the first reload or the first fix, the first malfunction that we're gonna be doing is, it's important to note the difference. The first one, the quick, immediate drill, is when the gun goes click. So as I press the trigger, you'll hear the sear, right? As it goes click, just like that, that lets me know that a tap rack bang will probably work. So what does tap rack bang means? What does it mean? Well, it means I tap the magazine to make sure it wasn't me and the magazine is actually seated properly. That's a very, very common mistake. And a lot of people don't tap it. They just make the assumption that there's a dummy round or that there's a bad piece of brass. But you always want to make sure you tap that magazine. Then you're going to take your charging handle and you're going to rack out the bad rounds. And because I have nothing left, I'm going to go into bolt lock and it's an empty mag. I would do a reload. But anytime the gun goes click instead of a bang, tap rack bang is probably going to work, right? So it goes click and I can tap rack with confidence that it's going to work. If it doesn't, I move on from there. But it's a distinct note because a more in-depth fix, we'll call it a more extreme or a remedial fix where I have to take the bolt back and actually pull the magazine out. The gun does not go click, almost always. The gun does not go click. It's like a dead trigger, a floppy trigger. That's a different fix. And if you know the difference between the two, you'll be quicker in making those fixes. So for this drill, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna intermix dummies and live rounds. What we're gonna get is primarily tap rack bangs or immediate quick fixes. And I know that's coming, but if it ever doesn't quick fix, we go right into our remedial. So we'll see what happens. I can't pre-plan it, but I like to try to space it out and not have it memorized. So if you can have somebody else load your mags or just kind of forget where you put them, that's ideal, so it becomes a surprise. So I've got my target down range, I load up, and I'm gonna do a drill where I'm just taking 2 shots from the high ready. So I plan on repping out a normal drill, 2 shots high ready, 2 shots low ready, whatever that is. And then if something goes click instead of a bang, I fix it. So from the high ready, push out. Everything's good to go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see better. From the high ready, I push out, tap, rack. I'm going to do the same thing. Tap, rack. Same thing. Tap, rack. And so on. What I'm getting out of this is I'm finding out 2 things. I'm finding out, am I flinching when the shot breaks? One of those 3, I can't remember which one, I felt a little bit of a pull. You might be able to even see it on the camera. I felt that. And so what I'm taking away from this is, okay, am I flinching? Why am I flinching? And I need to get that away. And then of course the target, the grouping will let me know how bad is that flinch, right? Am I keeping a tight group or is it going everywhere? The second thing I'm getting is actually how to fix the malfunctions. So clear and simple, just hit that magazine, make sure it's seated, move my face away. What you might not be seeing on this side of the camera is as I go to rack my slide, I'm not keeping my face here, I'm moving it off to the side and bringing it back. Moving it off to the side and bringing it back. Trying to do as little motion as possible so I can get back to shooting as quickly as possible.
Hey, I'm pausing the video right now to let you know about a free giveaway that USCCA has going on right now. Check out the link below for all the details, and let's get back to the video.
So for the next drill I'm gonna do something similar in the loading. Every few rounds I'm gonna put in a dummy, but instead of putting dummies in, which load smoothly and operate perfectly, I'm gonna put in a piece of brass. Now the thing about brass is some guns, it operates normally, some guns, it's catastrophic. Like the charging handle won't even rock back and you have to slam the gun, which I'm hoping it does for this rifle. It may not, but regardless, it gives you a very catastrophic jam that the regular dummies won't. So is it worth it to buy dummy rounds? Absolutely, but you can also get great training by putting in brass, but often enough, the two will give completely different malfunction types, so I recommend using both. Let's watch what happens. I can't pre-plan this stuff, so I hope it goes well. So charging handle set, gun is loaded. I'm gonna do the same drill, 2 to 3 shots from the high ready position, and I'm still analyzing if I'm flinching, but now the jams may be different. Push out. Take my shots, 1, 2. Push out, take my shots, 1, 2, click. Now, that was a click, so I tap and I rack. That went through fine, 1, 2. Something felt different on that. Tap, rack, look at that. That's why tap rack doesn't work. The gun, the trigger, if you look at this, the trigger is dead. There's no click, there's no sear reset, which lets me know that the gun is not functioning. It's not the round, it's the gun itself. So I take a look at what I got, and what I have is essentially nothing in the chamber. And as I rack back, it's not going in because it's a dummy round, it's a messed up round. So the first thing I wanna do is I wanna lock the bolt to the rear. Lock the bolt to the rear. I'm taking tension off of the magazine and whatever malfunction I have. The nice thing about this is as I take the magazine out, if the gun is laid, you know, kind of vertically like this, I pull the mag out, and oftentimes whatever jam is inside will fall out. So that's why I like to have it vertical as opposed to fixing it like this. And then, you know, if this was at night, I could just have my hands feeling for this, but I look and I go, that is the dummy round. Pop that dummy round out, fix it in, send the bolt forward, and continue shooting. Something else happened, tap rack. Look at that, tap rack doesn't fix. This is a double feed. The double feed, this is a great one why tap rack doesn't work, because two pieces are trying to go into the same hole right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock it back again. Lock the bolt to the rear. You would do the same thing with a pistol, but it would be the slide. Pull the magazine out vertically and you'll watch, something will probably fall out. See, I had 2 rounds come out. That's why I hold it vertically. I load again, send it, and I push out. Something felt different again. The trigger is dead. This is a completely different malfunction. I'll just show you, tap rack won't work. Tap rack does not work. And I look and I go, right, we got a malfunction in the chamber again. So I lock the bolt to the rear, take tension off of the magazine, pull the mag out, and now I have one again that's similarly stuck in the magazine. I flick it out, insert, send, and keep going. So I could keep going with this all day, but I think you get the point. The point is these two types of dummy rounds, right? A piece of brass and a dummy round can give you like 2 completely different types of malfunctions, and it gives you great comprehensive training when working in malfunctions. If you guys noticed, each one of these malfunctions could have been catastrophic if I had no idea what I was doing. If you're at home and you don't know how to fix these, the moment your gun jams, you're dead in the water. You have nothing. You have a paperweight. So it's super important to practice these over and over again so it becomes muscle memory. Then when you think you've mastered it, close your eyes, right? Obviously not while shooting, but close your eyes or turn the lights off. Figure out how to do this in the dark. Because even when you have night vision, which I preach all the time for people that have night vision, even with that tool of night vision, your focus is out here and it's still blurry here, so you won't be able to see what you're dealing with. So you always need to practice that by feel and by sight. Just remember, when you have a firearm for self-defense, that is life-saving equipment and you have to master it. Remember, you at home, you are the weapon. The gun, the firearm is just a tool. And if you can't master the usage of that tool, then you're really not a pro, and you're gonna have a hard time defending yourself and your loved ones. Hey, before you go, make sure you check out the free giveaway that USCCA has going on right now. The link is below in the description where you can get all the details on how you can enter.